Injuries can cause long-term problems if left untreated. Schedule your free consultation today at nfmcjax.com. North Florida Medical Center, bringing the care back to healthcare.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Aaron Williams. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us on a Wednesday that, well, if you don't know yet, I don't know how you wouldn't know because the game did not end until about 5:45 this evening. But if for whatever reason you don't know, and you're going to watch the tape delay version of the United States hockey game tonight, turn your radio off for about 10 seconds. In 3, 2, 1. What a win for the United States in overtime over Sweden. Awesome, awesome stuff. We will certainly talk a lot about that. And again, the Winter Olympics, man, I have watched just a nauseating amount of it. I guess because of the time difference. By the time my day starts, I get a little hack off to school. It's about 8 o'clock, 8:30. I come home. I turn on that gold zone thing that they do. It's like the NFL red zone, only with the Olympics. It's fantastic, man. It's been great. I have been locked in. I will actually be maybe a little upset next week when the Winter Olympics come to an end because I've watched a lot of it, thoroughly enjoyed it. And at this point, you just got to have Canada and the United States in the gold medal game in hockey, right? I mean, you almost have to have that. You get it on the women's side tomorrow. You got to have it on the men's side. Both are in the semis, and both have one more win in order for that game to come to fruition. Also, last night, Gator basketball, a big victory over South Carolina. We will certainly spend some time on that. Is Florida playing the best basketball in America right now? Could probably make that argument. I think Michigan would obviously have something to say about that. Duke, potentially UConn, but there's not many. There's not many that you could say, yeah, they are just playing better than the Florida Gators are right now. Florida 15-2 in their last 17 games, now 20-6 overall, and they have won 11 out of 13 in the Southeastern Conference. NFL Scouting Combine next week in Indianapolis. We will certainly spend some time on that. NFL free agency, 19 days away. We're actually going to start off there. And pretty cool event coming to town on Friday and Saturday. The PBR. The Professional Bull Riders are back at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena Friday night and Saturday. I went down there last year, thoroughly enjoyed it. We will have one of the professional bull riders, Wyatt Rogers, joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark to preview the event down at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena coming up this Friday and Saturday. Glad you're with us on a Wednesday night. Aaron, I'll say this, man. It's days like today where you fully grasp, or at least I do, just how long 24 hours actually is. Alarm went off at 5 a.m. Had to get showered, had to get dressed early because was taking little Hack on a field trip. Had to drop him off at school at 7:30. Came back home, did a little bit of work, and then bam, was off to Normandy Boulevard. Now keep in mind, I live in Mandarin, so that was a good 35-minute adventure, both out there and back, over an hour round trip to, what was that place? The Diamond D Ranch. It was a fun place. Really enjoyed that place. So I was one of the 10 chaperones or so that was in charge of 36 5- and 6-year-olds. So that took up about 3 or 4 hours of my day. Then little Hack had a doctor's appointment, so I took him to that. Then Little Hack had baseball practice, so I took him to that. And now I'm here with you, Aaron, and the good, fine folks, the men and women of Northeast Florida, to discuss sports for the next 2 hours. So I'm fired up, man. I'm happy to be here. We're with you till 10 o'clock. As always, Jacksonville, we are glad you are spending part of your Wednesday evening with us. Every night on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and the aforementioned Aaron Williams. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
I did this last night. We're going to go every position this week for the Jaguars, just our thoughts on last season and how things might look going into this offseason. We did quarterbacks and running backs last night. Tonight, I want to focus on the wide receivers and the tight end position. And with the tight ends, let's begin there. Well, you have a blossoming star in Britton Strange at the tight end position. That guy is going to be a foundation piece of this roster for years to come. I had some question as to why they released Evan Ingram last year when they got here, they being Cohen and Gladstone, Baselli. Well, it's very much apparent now why they released Evan Ingram. Because they knew what they had in Britton Strange. When Britton Strange was hurt this past season, there was a significant difference in the Jaguar offense. Britton Strange, I think this upcoming season, 2026, if he isn't so already, will be considered among the best tight ends in football. I am sky high on the potential of Britton Strange. And truth be told, just for the sake of being truthful with you guys, when they drafted Britton Strange out of Penn State back in 2023, I remember that night I was on with the head coach Dave Campo here on Hacker After Dark. I wasn't completely sure who Britton Strange was, quite frankly. We had talked about 10 different tight end scenarios. I don't think we talked about Britton Strange once. Hey, I'll give Trent Baalke some flowers on that. That's a good pick. After Britton Strange at tight end, I think the Jaguars are going to do some stuff this offseason. Quentin Morris is a free agent. I am of the opinion that you should re-sign Quentin Morris. I had Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 on earlier this week. He likewise said Quentin Morris is a guy you need to bring back. Quentin Morris was a great story. Was the fourth tight end in training camp. Practice squad, so we thought, worked his way up, was a special teams assassin, really good player on special teams. Ultimately, some injuries happened to Hunter Long and Britton Strange, and Quentin Morris is thrown in there, and I like what Morris did. I hope the Jaguars can find a way to bring Quentin Morris back. After that, I don't know about Johnny Mutt and Hunter Long. I mean, I wouldn't hate if either guy came back or if both came back. But can you upgrade there? If you bring back Quentin Morris with Britton Strange, can you get an upgrade over a Hunter Long and over a Johnny Mutt? Or, I mean, Hunter Long did flash early in the year before he got hurt, and he never really got back on the field after he got hurt. Are you okay with a healthy Hunter Long? Johnny Mutt, I don't think was bad. He just didn't kind of blow my socks off. I think you could probably upgrade in the tight end room. But Britton Strange is obviously your tight end one, and I do hope they do bring Quentin Morris back. As far as wide receiver, that's going to be interesting here in the next couple of weeks when free agency begins 19 days from today. Dyami Brown's gone. Look, it was a one-year deal. It didn't work out. Dyami Brown, it just didn't work out for him here. Thank you for the 1 year of service. The nice catch on the out route against Kansas City on Monday Night Football. I would be borderline shocked if Dyami Brown was a Jaguar in 2026. Tim Patrick is an unrestricted free agent. I like what you got out of Tim Patrick. You traded a 6th-round pick to Detroit. You bring in Tim Patrick. I thought what you asked him to do, he did well. He had a couple of really nice games. That loss to Seattle was a nice game. The game against the LA Chargers, the blowout victory, was a nice game. Maybe they didn't involve Tim Patrick enough. Like Quentin Morris, I hope they find a way to bring Tim Patrick back. Tim Patrick, you could do a lot worse than that as your wide receiver 4. Obviously, Jakobi Meyers and Parker Washington are locks. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is a lock, although for whatever reason there seems to be conversation. Could he potentially be traded? I told you guys last night, I don't see it, but at least the conversation is out there, so we'll bring it up. At the end of the day, when 2026 begins, I think Brian Thomas Jr., Jakobi Meyers, and Parker Washington are your top 3 receivers. I think Travis Hunter, to an extent, is it 10 plays? Is it 15 plays? Is it 20 plays? I don't know. But I think Hunter, to a lesser extent, will be involved. I do hope Tim Patrick is back. And then you're going to have to replace De'Ami Brown. You're going to have to bring somebody in. Now, is that somebody already here? They had a couple of young guys on the practice squad. Remember Joshua Cephas? Remember that name? Was pretty good in the preseason, then he got hurt. He got put on IR before the season even started. Is Joshua Cephas simply going to take over for De'Ami Brown? What about Austin Trammell? He got some run in the regular season. A couple of young guys as well that are on that practice squad. Is wide receiver 5 already here? Or are you going to draft somebody in the mid-rounds or sign a veteran free agent? I think whatever you do, you'll probably add 1 or 2 wide receivers this offseason that will compete with Joshua Cephas, with Austin Trammell, guys along those lines. But the top of the wide receiver room is set to me, obviously, in whatever order you want to put them in. Brian Thomas Jr., Jakobi Meyers, Parker Washington. I hope Tim Patrick's back. And then you figure out wide receiver 5 and potentially wide receiver 6 between a Joshua Cephas and Austin Trammell, or again, any rookie you bring in or any veteran free agent that you may add. So the wide receiver room and the tight end room are set at the top. I think this offseason there's work to do for the depth of those rooms. But having Brenton Strange, BTJ, Parker Washington, and Jakobi Meyers, pretty pleased about that. Not to mention Travis Hunter sporadically. Pretty happy I am where this room sits or where this roster sits at both wide receiver and tight end. We will continue the Jaguar conversation. Greg Auman is a national NFL writer with Fox Sports. Interestingly enough, he was a NFL Coach of the Year voter. He was also, I believe, a voter for Most Valuable Player. And he will give his thoughts on who he voted for the NFL Coach of the Year, among others. And late last week, he put out his top 100 free agents to be coming into next month when March 9th and the free agency period begins in the NFL. Greg Auman has Devin Lloyd number 3 overall. Number 3 on his list of the top 100 free agents to be. Pretty crazy. Pretty high marks. And unlike most, including myself, quite frankly, Greg Auman, who's covered the league for years, has a different take on how this Devin Lloyd situation is going to work out here in Jacksonville. Jaguar fans, if you missed this, I think you'll find it interesting. We'll talk Devin Lloyd. We'll talk Travis Etienne. We'll talk Montaric Brown and Greg Newsome. And we'll also talk about potential outside free agents that Jacksonville may want to add with free agency approaching in less than 3 weeks. Excuse me. With Aaron Williams, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us on a Wednesday night here in Northeast Florida. It's Hacker After Dark.
What would you call a man who would stoop as low as to do something like this?
Dan Hicken.
Let the man keep what's left of his dignity, please.
Jeff Prosser.
Tight pants and fast cars don't make you Batman.
Together they are The Drill. Mornings on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Hacker here for the best weight loss program I've ever been on. Look, as I tell you guys, I'm in the maintenance program right now, but tomorrow is a prime example. I have my monthly check-in with my coach, Kate. Now, she was with me weekly while I was on the process of losing over 100 pounds. But even when you're off that process and you're in the maintenance process, your coach remains with you. They don't just say, all right, thank you, smell you later, and leave you and send you on your way. No, this is coaching for life. They're there with you along the process to make sure you're good and to make sure the weight doesn't come back. That's what Awaken 180 does. Awaken 180 is not only a program, it's a lifestyle, and you make a lot of friends along the way with losing weight. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800 and drop the weight like I did with Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here from the Blue Crab Crab House. February means the Mardi Gras menu returns to the Blue Crab Crab House. Gumbo, shrimp Orleans, blackened redfish, appetizers, dessert, and more. This includes, of course, their regular menu where you get crabs from the Alaskan waters, the Canadian waters, the Southern Georgia waters. It's only at the Blue Crab Crab House. Doors open at 4:30, San Jose, and, of course, Julington Creek Road.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
When someone excels in and out of the classroom, we should celebrate it.
That's why 1010XL brings you the Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Wednesdays on The Frangie Show, tuned up by
The Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Are high-interest credit cards and other loans sucking the life out of your finances? It's time to say no more. Let Loan Pronto tap the equity on your home and get the cash you need now so you can pay it all off. Hey, it's Prosser here. Corey and Jack called Loan Pronto in a matter of days. They had $160,000. They kept their 3% mortgage intact, didn't even need an appraisal, and with all that cash, they wiped out all their credit cards and 2 car loans, saving $2,000 a month. You can do it too. LoanPronto.com, the rapid equity loan program, can get you $100,000, $200,000, even $500,000 in cash. Chloe and Ethan just did it. Consolidated all their high-interest debt into one super low monthly payment, giving them an extra $1,000 a month. Imagine, pay off all the credit cards, slash your monthly payments, breathe easier. Get your life back. Interest rates are at 3-year lows. Call Loan Pronto today, 904-999-1500. That's 904-999-1500. Or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Could you imagine? There was a time you could just tell your kids to shut up right to their face. No explanations, just shut up. How much easier would that have been? Why is the sun hot? I don't know. Why don't you shut up? Well, that was uncalled for.
Tom Hopper Live in the Grateful Bread Tour. Saturday, February 21st, on stage at Florida Theater. Tickets are on sale now at floridatheater.com.
At Hollis Pools, building a pool is personal. We sit down with you, listen to your vision, and bring your backyard dreams to life right here in Northeast Florida. Working with us doesn't feel like working with a contractor. It feels like working with family. Every Hollis Pools project supports Project Savior Outdoors, helping bring hope to our veterans. Visit hollispools.com. Hollis Pools, your vision, your pool, your escape. License number CPC 146 866-1233.
When it comes to glass, you don't want average. You want flawless. Duval Glass and Mirror has transformed homes and businesses across Jacksonville for over 35 years. Frameless showers that wow. Mirrors cut exactly to your style. Fogged or broken glass replaced. Decorative tabletops. Windows replaced or repaired to stand up to Florida storms. All backed by a 100% guarantee. Visit DuvalGlass.com for your free quote. There's only one name for glass and mirror around these parts. It's Duval.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. The NFL season is in the rearview mirror. The Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl champions after their dominating win this past Sunday over New England. But boy, that NFL wheel, it doesn't stop, right? The NFL scouting combine comes up in less than 2 weeks, and we are now inside of a month away from NFL free agency. Let's preview the offseason with Greg Auman of Fox Sports. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Greg, how we doing, man?
I'm doing well. Hope you are too.
Hey, Greg, thank you so much for the time. You wrote a really interesting write-up on FoxSports.com highlighting the top 100 free agents coming into the offseason. Certainly a lot of Jaguars were on that list. We'll get to that, Greg, in a moment. But you and I haven't spoke in a couple of months. I'm just curious, your overall thoughts, year number one for Liam Cohen, James Gladstone here in Jacksonville. Obviously, quite the turnaround in the win department, but what was your overall takeaway from 2025 and what Cohen and Gladstone did here with the Jaguars?
Oh, I think you have to be impressed. I mean, I'm an AP voter, and for the awards, I mean, I had Cohen as my first place for Coach of the Year. Just the turnaround to be a first-year coach. Not only the increase in wins, but just the, I guess you'd just say the rebranding of the team, the confidence they had, getting more out of really both sides of the ball. I think the defense and the takeaways and on everything with that side of the ball probably was more of a surprise just because you knew going in that Cohen was such a good offensive mind. But no, I mean, having seen him here in Tampa, having seen how good they were with him as offensive coordinator is not a surprise. You never know how things will take when someone's a first-year head coach, but I think did all the right things and really set the trajectory for the Jaguars in a positive direction where, again, they have every expectation now, even with the Texans right there in the division, to be a team that's going to be, not only getting into the playoffs next year, but maybe sticking around and doing, a deeper run in the playoffs next time.
For people that don't know, Greg is based in Tampa. I remember we had you on when Cohen got the job here.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, I mean, the Jaguars were the only team to interview him, Greg. And for him to come in and 13 wins just right out of the gate, did other teams just simply miss on Liam Cohen last year?
Well, I mean, I think it's two big leaps. I mean, I think Cohen, to be basically a first-time play-calling coordinator in the NFL in 24. I think he'd been an OC for a year with the Rams, but went back to Kentucky. It felt like I think there's so much confidence given to young offensive coaches in this league, but it did feel like wow, that'd be two huge leaps to go from a first-time coordinator and the success with that to then be a first-time head coach with first-time coordinators on both sides. Such a young staff, and to see it take as well as it did. I think it's just, I mean, you think about, it's probably a little bit like where teams were with Udinski this year, where obviously Grant got more interviews. But again, you just wonder, I think you have to be careful as a young coach not to just take a job to have a job. And I think, I think there are good jobs. And then if you're patient, you can kind of set yourself up where your first head coaching job is a situation that's better suited for you and puts you in a position to win. I think Jacksonville was that for Liam a year ago and made a lot of sense. I mean, I think the Bucs did everything they could to try and keep him and make him the highest paid assistant in the league. And it's hard to keep somebody from a job like that. There's only 32 of them. They pay extremely well. And I think he correctly judged that it was a good opportunity for him and something he could find immediate success with.
Greg Allman, FoxSports.com, has covered the NFL for years, and he's kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Greg, quickly, you mentioned Grant Udinski. He was a finalist in Cleveland. There was some talk about him in Buffalo. He comes back. Campanile on the defensive side apparently was a finalist in Arizona. He also comes back. How big is that for Cohen going into year number 2 to get both his coordinators back with him?
Oh, I think it's huge. I mean, there was definitely a window there early in the process where he looked like he could lose both. And I think it's neat. And as a first-time head coach, you don't know how good they are at assembling a staff and identifying young talent. And to go all in like he did on 2 guys who really hadn't done anything at the level they were asked to do. It's easy sometimes if you're a young head coach, first-time head coach, you bring in a 65-year-old opposite coordinator just to give you somebody in the room who's more of a veteran presence and shows you the rope. And they, to their credit, they're like, you know what, we can be young across the board and still find ways to win. For Jacksonville, it's amazing. It's one of those where you think about, I'm trying to think of other big teams that haven't lost a coordinator. It seems like almost all the big contenders, you think about the Eagles and the success they had where they might lose both coordinators in 1 year sometimes. That's a huge thing for continuity and for being able to build and not have to worry about any adjustments in scheme or who you have implementing what you want on either side of the ball. So I think it's a big victory, and I don't know if they'll be as lucky a year from now if 26 goes anything like 25 did for them. But for now, it's great news.
Greg, final thought on last year's Jaguars, then I want to get to your piece on Fox Sports about free agency. Trevor Lawrence, obviously you mentioned you're an AP voter. He was one of the finalists for both Comeback Player of the Year and Most Valuable Player. What a turnaround, and I guess a lot of that credit also probably needs to go to Liam Cohen.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trevor, to see the success they had building around him on offense, I didn't think of him that seriously as an MVP candidate, but I think in terms of just somebody getting back and being who he was drafted to be and having the defense around him, I'm trying to think if he had, I think the 2 times I was in Jacksonville, the one was beating the Chiefs. He had some great games that I saw in person. Obviously, the playoff game didn't work out, not necessarily his fault at all, but yeah, I think for him, it's one of those tricky deals where in today's NFL, these young quarterbacks sometimes get paid at such a high level where you're at that $50 million tier and you don't have necessarily the sustained playoff success or anything like that. So I think for him to validate the success they had a couple years ago, win the division, hold their own in a tough playoff game, I think he's kind of where they want him to be right now. And to have, I remember, early in the year, there was questions as to whether Trevor would be his guy and how much could he do everything he wanted that a quarterback to do in this offense. And I think he's done that. I mean, I think, in terms of having the right pieces around him, I think they'll continue to tweak that and adjust that. But no, I think Trevor Lawrence had the year they needed him to have to kind of lead this team to where it got.
Greg Allman of FoxSports.com. You wrote a terrific piece highlighting the top 100 free agents to be. Again, NFL free agency begins in less than a month. I want to save Devin Lloyd and ETN for a moment. I want to focus on Greg Newsome and Montaric Brown. They were among your top 100. I believe you had Newsome moving on in your prediction. You had Montaric Brown returning. I would tend to agree with that. And what's interesting, Greg, as well, is the Travis Hunter factor, right? With the emergence of Parker Washington, the arrival of Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr. as well, knowing Newsome and Brown are both free agents, and Travis Hunter is coming back, that would maybe complicate things a little bit for Jacksonville in the secondary and might decide what they're ultimately going to do with those 2 free agents to be.
Yeah, it's one of those tricky deals where I think they have to specifically pick to keep one and pick to let one go. I think they probably let them both go if they really thought the price was high. But like you said, they kind of have the insulation out receiver and offense to where, if you don't know how snaps are going to get a portion for Travis Hunter in year 2. But I think it'd be easy to think it'd be more on the defensive side right now just because they need him more there. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know the specifics between those 2 in terms of who they prefer or what it's going to cost to keep them. It just felt like of the areas where you can't keep them all, that was one position where you probably going to have to make a tough decision and then keep one. It doesn't always mean you keep the better one. Sometimes you keep the more value of the 2 and somebody you might see growing into a bigger role. So no, it's a nice problem to have. in that the guys that are leaving in free agency might need a comp pick or two as well. This is a deep enough group where, they could come out ahead, could have some picks coming a year from now in the draft just from losing the quality free agents they might be losing.
You have Travis Etienne and Devin Lloyd among your top 20 free agents to be. Let's begin with Etienne. Certainly a lot of Jaguar fans, Greg, would like him back. He had a great year. Do dollars make sense, though, at the running back position? He just turned 27 years old. And with Bashal Tutin sitting in the wings, who had a pretty decent rookie campaign, it'll be interesting to see what ultimately does happen with Travis Etienne.
Yeah, that's one of those where, they have Tutin there, like you said. I think they'd like to keep Etienne. I just don't know. He should be, honestly. I think Kenneth Walker has probably priced himself above him, especially what they did in the playoffs. But should be right there in terms of a guy that, you if you're going to pay for a running back, you want to pay for somebody coming off that rookie contract where they're still young, can still get, years 5, 6, and 7 should be prime years for a running back. So no, I'll be curious to see what the market is. I think I had him getting to the Saints, I think. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure there's a price that Jacksonville is willing to pay and a dollar figure they're willing to go to keep him. But there also has to be a point where you say, okay, you don't want to overpay too much if you have somebody else that can handle things. You'd have Tutin on his rookie deal for 3 more years. Maybe that helps you keep another DB or handle another position that can also get expensive. I'll be curious to see how they handle that.
Connecting the dots with you being in Tampa, Rachaad White is a free agent. Liam Cohen has experience with him from that year in Tampa. Rachaad White might be a little cheaper than Travis Etienne. Could that be a direction Jacksonville might ultimately go?
Yeah, I think I even had Rachaad signed with the Jags in that top 100, if I remember right. Rachaad's not coming back here. I think he's shown himself to be a good complementary back, would mesh well with Tutin, I think. He's a really good pass-catching back, can catch 50 passes a game for you, or 50 passes a year for you. Good in pass protection, did really well in that offense. It's funny, Rachaad could go, I think he has 3 different coordinators he could go to in terms of whether he goes, to Carolina with Dave Canales, go to Jacksonville with Liam Cohen, go to Philadelphia with Josh Broussard. There's unfortunately he's had his share here. But I think that would make sense. I don't think Rachaad will be nearly, Etienne's probably a $9 or $10 million back. And I think Rachaad White's probably closer to 4, maybe 5. If it's more than that, I'd be surprised. But no, I think their familiarity and just the opportunity to step into a kind of a good split there where you have another young back like he has with Bucky Irving, but one where I think he would know what his role is, before he signs.
Final moments, Greg Allman of Fox Sports. You also had another former Tampa Bay Buccaneer signing with Jacksonville in your piece, Cade Otton at tight end, which would make sense. Brenton Strange is obviously tight end 1 here, but do they want to upgrade from a Johnny Munt or a Hunter Long? And certainly Cohen has familiarity with Cade Otton.
Yeah, absolutely. I think now that I think about it, I think I had Rachaad going to Carolina when I think about looking back on things, because it did have Cade going to Jacksonville, and Cade could very well resign here. It's one of those where they've got to decide, how he fits in, how they like him. Cade Otton's a guy that plays a ton. I think he's over 90% snaps the last 3 years. Very, solid, does everything tight end. Hasn't had the touchdown numbers you'd probably like to have, but pretty consistently a 50-catch guy. No, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Like you said, Strange is there. I don't feel like you have that much else back at tight end, where if he wants to do more, I think everybody's going crazy with 12 personnel right now. If you want to have a solid, strong second tight end you can put out there and kind of make that the base. They could go 3 wide in Jacksonville and have a really good group there too as their base default scheme. But no, I think Cade's a guy that probably going to get about $8-10 million a year, mid-range for a tight end. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I'll be curious to see. That's another one where, if they like what they had on offense and they want to bring everything back, they can certainly try to bring it back. But if they also want to get younger at some key positions, the Bucs could do that as well.
Greg, as we wrap up, the biggest takeaway I had from your article revolving around the Jaguars was Devin Lloyd. Now, you ranked 100 free agents. You had Devin Lloyd number 3 overall, which, I don't blame you. He's unbelievably productive this past year. But unlike a lot of people, myself included, you think Jacksonville might very much bring back Devin Lloyd even at a high cost.
Yeah, I don't know what their priorities are, but I think when you think about this defense, I think he was kind of the heart in the middle of this defense in terms of takeaways, in terms of the ball hawk nature of things. I was there, the Chiefs game where he had whatever it was, 97, 98-yard pick 6 off Patrick Mahomes. He'll be expensive. Again, I think I put him at $20 million a year, at least $18 million a year, which is a lot for a position that teams don't usually spend a lot on. So, it's possible Jacksonville has somebody else in mind. They let him move and take what would be a third round comp pick for losing somebody on that big a deal. But I think if you knew you had the coordinator back, if you knew you had the pieces back in the secondary that you want, it makes sense you'd try to bring the band back and kind of, roll it back as much as you could, even if that means, an expensive deal and a significant investment in Devin Lloyd.
Greg, as we say goodbye, again, the top 100 free agents, when you put this piece together on Fox Sports, how do you assess the free agent class as a whole? Strong, average, below average? What's your thought there?
Yeah, it's definitely not strong. It's one of those where, these teams are so proactive. I mean, when you get to free agency, and we're definitely not there yet, the best talent is staying and is off the market and is already re-signed. Teams are re-signing. You can re-sign a draft pick after 3 years. So, they're doing it a year before they get to free agency so often. So, unfortunately, of that 100, if I'm ballparking it, I would say 15 to 20 will be off the market and either re-signed or tagged before free agency starts on March 9th. So, it felt like a down year. It's like it's a good exercise to get to 100, but it's not like you got 100 Pro Bowlers in there, So I think on the whole, it doesn't seem like a deep class, but I think there's definitely some impact and some guys at the top of the class that will make a difference. You think about Milton Williams a year ago. We had him really high in our top 100, and he goes and, helps the Patriots get to the Super Bowl. I'll be curious to see what shakes out. And some of these, again, Malik Willis is a complete unknown right now. So he could be a complete bust a year from now, or he could be coming off a 25 touchdown season in his first real extended playing time in whatever it is, year 5 for him. So I think there's some unknowns, and it'll be fun to see which teams are willing to take the big investment and pay to get them.
Greg, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, Fox Sports, your work there, and where they can find that article about the top 100 NFL free agents.
Yeah, just foxsports.com. It should be on the main page right now. It's something I think people will be reading a lot in the next month, just to go through and see what the options are and try and figure out who you're keeping and who you're losing, who you might pick up. And then I'm on Twitter, on X at my name, Greg Allman. Everything I'll link to from there, too.
Greg Allman of Fox Sports. Greg, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time out. We'll talk soon, pal.
No problem, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies. Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
It starts with a great play by Tony Brackett. He knows he's too far upfield to sack Dan Marino, so he's going to take a swipe at the football. Big-time play here by Tony Brackett.
1010 XL. Be the first to discover the best new home community in beautiful Green Cove Springs. Highland Trail, where the rhythm of life slows down. Enjoy green spaces, luxury pools, pickleball courts, winding trails, and more at livehighlandtrail.com. Choose from 3 premium builders, just starting in the 300s.
Oh, at Highland Trail.
If your home doesn't have a fireplace, CSS can install a beautiful electric or gas fireplace from Heat & Glow with no major remodel required. See their showroom or CSSOutdoor.com for a free estimate. CSS, you dream it, we build it.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. Triumph did a really cool thing last year, Greg. They went off-road. What's happening with Triumph?
Well, not only did they go off-road, they threw all the chips on the table. Ricky Carmichael personally developed this motorcycle for them. So if you haven't seen the Ricky Carmichael 450, you need to come see it. Also just released some Enduros this year. They've got a full lineup. You're going to love them.
Talking Triumph, the latest off-road Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency. Check out cyclesofjacksonville.com.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jeff's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination, where Sammy, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge. And Sammy does that for free too. In no time at all, Jeff is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
And that concludes the Joe C. Jack of All Trades show. Tune in next week where I'll be installing my own French drain.
Joe, wake up, man.
Hey, John, I must have dozed off.
We finished those projects you started.
Whoa, my seamless gutters are actually seamless.
And they're connected into underground PVC drain lines.
And my sprinklers. Wow, look at that coverage.
Next time, just call me first, Joe.
I will, but I ain't singing that song.
Clearwater irrigation
and drainage too.
Sports fans, Max Fink here with 1010XL, and when I wanted to send flowers, the advice came fast. Use Kuhn flowers, they all said. Kuhn can handle anything for any situation. Well, I took that good advice. Kuhn flowers made it happen for me. KuhnFlowers.com.
San Jose Collision in Mandarin is proud to be an I-CAR Gold Class collision repair facility. That means they meet the industry's highest training standards. Experience the difference at San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Since 1927, Jacksonville has trusted Coil Fencing to protect what matters. And I trust them too. From tough chain link to your commercial project to sleek aluminum fencing your HOA will love, Coil does it all. Did you know that Coil can also install, service, and maintain those automatic gates that help protect your neighborhood or business? To schedule a complimentary consultation, visit CoilJacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com. Coil Fencing, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, transponders, and even high-tech smart locks. For honest, professional locksmith service,
Instant Keys comes to you. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Till 10 o'clock. Glad you're with us on a Wednesday. 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Again, thank you to Greg Allman of Fox Sports. We'll continue the Jaguar conversation coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. John Ledyard has been one of my NFL draft guys for a while. He has the Audibles and Analytics Substack, among many other outlets you can find his work. He'll be up in Indianapolis for the scouting combine, and we'll talk to John about this year's draft class, about Travis Hunter playing primarily a defensive back role in 2026, and just get his overall thoughts on the Jaguar offseason outlook. So John Ledyard joins me coming up later on here in the 9 o'clock hour. One evening ago, down in Gainesville, the Florida Gators took care of South Carolina for their 20th win of the year. They now are 11-2 in the SEC. And if you're a Gator fan, you probably got to keep eyes on this Alabama-Arkansas matchup. Arkansas comes into tonight's game 9-3. A win for Arkansas tonight would put them still just a game behind Florida. If Alabama were to win, thus dropping Arkansas to 9-4, the Gators would have a 2-game lead on everybody in the Southeastern Conference with 5 to go. Alabama does lead this game 82-79 over Arkansas with just over 6 minutes to go. So we will certainly keep you updated. You know, I saw Todd Golden last night on the Scott Van Pelt show on ESPN after the game, and I didn't even realize this. But do you know that Todd Golden last year, in the modern era, I mean, if you go back like to the 1940s, those other guys, but if you want to go back for the last 30, 40 years, right? Or I guess it would be, 40 plus years. We'll call it 45 years. How about that? The last 45 years or so, 4.5 decades, that Todd Golden is only the third guy in that time frame to win a national championship last year before the age of 40, which is pretty crazy to think about it. The other two to do it, I believe, were Bobby Knight and Jim Valvano. So Todd Golden is already in rarefied air with that national championship last year, joining the likes of Bobby Knight and Jim Valvano. And now in just year number, what is Golden in? Year 4 in Gainesville? Yeah, I think he's in year 4. He's on the cusp of once again having a top 2 or 3 seed in the NCAA tournament and a team that could absolutely go to the Final Four. I mean, absolutely go to the Final Four. I never in my life, and I'm serious about this, I never in my life, when Billy Donovan left the University of Florida, thought we would be having a conversation about a coach at Florida being the next Billy Donovan. Never in my life. What Billy Donovan did at Florida was miraculous. And he did it in a world where there was an NIL, to his credit. But here's Todd Golden, not that long after Billy Donovan left Florida, about a decade now, already with half as many national titles as Billy. Of course, Billy with 2, Todd Golden with 1. Billy did go to, 4 Final Fours. Billy did go to countless Sweet 16s and Elite 8s. So I'm not saying Todd Golden is in Billy Donovan territory yet. Let him win a national championship this year, and that's a different conversation. If they repeat, which, again, it's so hard to do, right? That's why so few teams have done it. UConn did it recently. Florida did it 20 years ago. I believe Duke did it, right, in the early 90s. But teams just don't repeat, particularly in a day and age with NIL and transfer portals, and it's just too hard. You lose too many guys. And Florida did lose 4 guards from last year's team. But to even have the conversation that this team could do it in mid to late February, I didn't think we would be here when the season started. Florida being 20-6, 11-2 in the conference, and probably going to be in the top 10 in America next week, they have surpassed my expectation, what I thought they would be from the beginning of the season to now. Who's to say they can't go on a little bit of a run? You're going to have to get a little lucky. Like last year, people talk about how great that team was last year. Well, you could argue Florida could have very easily lost 4 of those tournament games last year. Houston, Auburn, Texas Tech, and UConn all were in doubt with 2 minutes to go. And Florida was ultimately on the right side of all of them. So it does take a little bit of luck. But man, you watch this Gator basketball team. You watch how dominant that front court is. And you watch the fact that Xavier Lee is starting to look like the guy they thought he was going to be when they brought him in. And you look at what Boogie Flan is doing, and Isaiah Brown, and Irvine Klabshar in the backcourt. And you watch Golden last night on Scott Van Pelt. He's a confident dude, and with good reason. This Gator basketball team is good. Will they repeat? I would still tend to doubt it. It's hard to do. But I think they could be a Final Four team. And if you get to the Final Four, all bets are off. And I did not think they would be a Final Four team a month and a half ago. They are getting better every single week. And who am I to say they can't repeat as champions? Because they're playing like one of the best teams in America right now. Absolutely no doubt about that. More Gator basketball talk also coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. Big weekend in store here in Jacksonville. The Bulls are coming to town. The PBR, the Professional Bull Riders, invade the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena on Friday and Saturday. Boy, I went to that thing last year. Little Hack still talks about it a year later. He loved it. It was packed, too. There are a lot of people that go out there and watch the Professional Bull Riders. If you have never been to their events, I can't recommend them enough. And one of their riders is Wyatt Rogers. He will be in town this Friday and Saturday with the PBR. And we'll talk about the Professional Bull Riders coming to Jacksonville on Friday night and Saturday. Wyatt Rogers will be competing with the PBR on Friday and Saturday. And he joins us next right here on Hacker After Dark.
People love to listen to play-by-play on the radio.
This is unbelievable what we're witnessing.
this season. I'm serious.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
Get a healthy start in 2026. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to help you get healthy and stay healthy all year long. Our dedicated team is committed to providing high-quality care and trusted public health services for our community. Our mission is simple: to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Learn more about our programs and services by visiting duval.floridahealth.gov.
When you head out for a night with friends or going to the big game, don't forget the best game plan to win the night is to designate a driver and guarantee a safe ride home. Hydrating between buds is the best play you can make. Bud Light, reminding all to drink wiser.
When you want to be heard, send your opinion to the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Thank you for believing in me when the bosses didn't give me a chance.
641-1010. No texting and driving. Get your thoughts heard on 1010XL.
Mortgage rates have dropped. They're expected to move lower. Home sales momentum is building. So now is the time to get your home ready to maximize your sales price. It's time to call Chad and Sandy, the proven experts to sell your home. Maybe you have concerns about putting your home on the market and getting it sold. Well, let me alleviate those for you. There's a real quick solution. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold or they will buy it. Call 414-6200. Or go to chadandsandy.com. You'll find out for yourself. Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts I trust and recommend with the sale of your home or mine. Using their proprietary Market Max system, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Anthony and Mary in Palmco said, we needed to sell our home to move closer to family, but low cash offers weren't cutting it. Since we'd only bought a year earlier, options felt limited, but not for Chad and Sandy. Call Chad and Sandy today, or log on to chadandsandy.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
This is the home of the Florida Gators. Get your Gators hoops on 1010XL. Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah, Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, and Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
At Hollis Pools, building a pool is personal. We sit down with you, listen to your vision, and bring your backyard dreams to life right here in Northeast Florida. Working with us doesn't feel like working with a contractor. It feels like working with family. Every Hollis Pools project supports Project Savior Outdoors, helping bring hope to our veterans. Visit hollispools.com. Hollis Pools, your vision, your pool, your escape. License number CPC 1461233.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, it's that time of year again here in Jacksonville, the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. This Friday night and Saturday, the PBR, the Professional Bull Riders, are back in town. It is a terrific event. I was out there last year with my son. He loved it. Looking forward to being out there again. And one of the folks you will see out at the PBR this weekend is Wyatt Rogers of the PBR, and Wyatt's kind enough to take time out for us tonight here on 1010XL. Wyatt, how we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hey, Wyatt, we're good. Thank you so much for the time. I want to talk about your career. I want to talk about the PBR. But what I just said, I took my 5-year-old last year. He's 6 now. But when he was 5, I took him out there, and it was his first time ever watching the Professional Bull Riders in person. It's been a year, and Wyatt, he still talks about it. He loved the experience, and I imagine as a guy that does this for a living, you love when you make that sort of memory for a young kid.
Oh, yeah. No, that's definitely the goal, and I was that little kid sitting in the stands watching all night heroes and stuff ride bulls, so it's definitely just a dream come true to be in that spot to maybe be a role model for the next generation.
Wyatt, how did you get into professional bull riding? I know you started at a very young age with a passion for it.
Yeah, I grew up in a rodeo family, going to team ropings and rodeos with my mom and dad. They both competed, and they kind of did more of the timed events as far as team roping and steer wrestling. And I don't know, they said I just would sleep through the timed events and wake up for the bull riding at a young age. And then I started getting on sheep at 2, and then turned professional at 18, and this has been my career for the last 11 years.
Wow, turning professional at 18. And I know you achieved a lot of stuff during your high school time before you even turned professional.
Oh, yeah. I was a 3-time Oklahoma high school state champion bull rider and made it to the Nationals all 4 years. And definitely had a good high school career, and it took me to a full ride scholarship at Southeastern Oklahoma State, where I got a master's degree as well. So very fortunate with where bull riding and rodeos took me.
Wyatt Rogers here with us of the Professional Bull Riders. They are in town at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena here in Jacksonville, both this upcoming Friday and Saturday. Wyatt, we'll talk more about this at the end as well, but for people that have never been to a PBR competition, for people that are curious about it, what can they look forward to? What can they expect when they head down to the arena this weekend?
This was the elite of the elite. This will be the 40 best bull riders versus the 40 best bulls that you'll ever see in the world. It's not like your local rodeo that you can go to no matter where it would be in the country. This is just top notch. It's a production. You're going to see pyrotechnics. You're going to see the great announcers, the best clowns in the world. And this is just going to be 2 hours of nonstop action that you'll never forget in your life. You're going to edge your seat. It's a place to come have fun. You might see some great rides, and you're going to see some great wrecks.
Boy, I'll tell you, that was one of the things that really took me aback last year when I saw it for the first time in person. I mean, the training that you guys must do to be able to ride these animals. I mean, these are animals. And for you to be able to stay on there as long as you do, Wyatt, what kind of training goes into that?
Yeah, you have to treat your body just like any other athlete would. You got to watch what you eat. You got to go work out daily, do some recovery, ice baths, red light saunas, electromagnetic therapy, whatever it is, because it's a rough sport. You're going to face injuries, and it's all about getting ready to go for that next weekend wherever you're at in the country.
How have you seen the sport change? You said you've been doing it for 11 years. How much different is it now, say, to when you started over a decade ago?
Just the quality of guys and the quality of bulls. They keep growing and getting better. The young kids coming up, they're hungrier. They're more athletic, it seems like, or maybe I'm just getting older and slower. And it's just, you got to keep evolving in the sport, and there's always going to be a next generation coming that's hungrier, and that's their dream as well.
Wyatt Rogers here with us. The Professional Bull Riders are in town Friday and Saturday, February 20th and 21st down at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Wyatt, as we begin to wrap up here, obviously it's a competition. You guys are on the road doing these things weekly around the country. Talk about the healthy competition between the guys. I would say it's probably similar to what you see in NASCAR, things like that. I mean, you're competing every single week against these same people, so there's got to be some healthy competition involved.
Oh, yeah. Normally with your your best buds and your closest traveling mates that you have the most competition with, kind of just the little heckling and stuff like, haha, I beat you. And but bull riding's unlike any other sport. Like, I'll be competing against the 40 other guys, and they'll be right on the back of the chutes cheering me on and helping me get ready to ride my bull, because at the end of the day, it's me versus the bull. It's not me versus the guy. They don't determine whether I do good or bad. It's all on myself, and that's kind of what I love about the sport, is just the camaraderie and the brothership that we all develop. And we're all family traveling here week in, week out.
As a veteran, 11 years in the sport, do you find yourself now as one of the older guys helping out some of the younger guys that are coming up?
Oh, yeah, I think definitely as far as traveling and being able to get places and know where to fly into, how to get to the arena, just small stuff like that kind of eases the rookies' minds, and they definitely enjoy having someone that has been there and done that.
All right, Wyatt, let's invite them out. Friday and Saturday, February 20th, 21st, the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. The professional bull riders are back in town here in Jacksonville. One more time, what can folks expect when they head on out to the event?
I promise you, come this first time, you'll come back every year, and I feel like you can agree with that. Coming last year with your son is something that the whole family can come and enjoy, and there's nothing better than the professional bull riders.
I will absolutely vouch for that. My son Forrest loved it. We're heading back out there again this weekend, and we will see you there. Wyatt Rogers of the Professional Bull Riders again this weekend at the arena at the PBR. Wyatt, thank you so much for the time. Enjoy your stay here in Jacksonville, and best of luck this weekend.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
It will definitely be quite the scene. There is no doubt about that at the PBR, and we certainly thank Wyatt Rogers of the Professional Bull Riders for joining us again downtown this weekend at the arena on Friday and Saturday. Back into the National Football League, the Scouting Combine next week up in Indianapolis. Free agency less than 3 weeks away. Let's talk about all of it with John Ledyard of the Audibles and Analytics Substack. John's been one of my draft guys for years, and he joins us next on a Wednesday night here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
A bold station for a bold city.
We need you to be all strong and hot.
1010XL. Bold City Radio.
Let's talk about the sound no homeowner wants to hear. Drip, drip, drip. Still dripping. That's exactly why Duck Duck Rooter created the Love Your Pipes promotion. Plumbing problems don't scare us. Not with years of experience and honest upfront pricing on our side. Right now, you can get free plumbing assessment on all fixtures with any paid plumbing service. It's the smart move to fix the issue now before it becomes bigger. So when you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, duckduckrooter.com.
Did you know your roof ages from the inside out? By the time you see a leak, damage already exists beneath the shingles. Sun exposure, humidity, and seasonal storms slowly weaken roofing materials over time. If your roof is 15 years old or more, then now is the time to start planning, not reacting. At Endless Summer Roofing, we provide professional inspections and clear guidance so you can make informed decisions. Visit EndlessSummerRoofing.com to schedule a free inspection. Endless Summer Roofing, protecting your home from Florida's endless summer.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks, and if you think Closets by Design is just closets, you've got to see their brand new showroom at Phillips & Emerson. It's amazing what they can do. See for yourself how they custom design organization for any space. Garages, laundry rooms, bedrooms, even the man cave. It's all about smart storage that fits your lifestyle and budget. Schedule an appointment to meet with a design consultant and tour the showroom for ideas you can see and touch. Start at closetsbydesign.com.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional, and investment loans. At Cogent Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296, Ryan Salem, NMLS ID 1182429, Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
Create a backyard your family will love. Jack's Outdoor Solutions, an authorized dealer of Celebrity Greens, installs PGA quality artificial turf golf greens and complete outdoor spaces. From turf to custom hardscapes, landscaping, and lighting, every project is built for style, durability, and family fun. Locally owned and trusted across Northeast Florida, customers rave about their results. Check their 5-star reviews on Google. Plan your dream backyard today at jacksoutdoorsolutions.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The NFL Scouting Combine next week in Indianapolis, and we are now inside of 3 weeks away from NFL free agency. There's a lot to get into, including the Travis Hunter report. I'm not sure how much of a report it was here in Jacksonville. I think we kind of knew that it was going to be primarily defense for Travis Hunter in 2026. But, boy, that also made a lot of national news this past weekend. Let's talk about all of it with John Ledyard. He is with the Audible as an analytics Substack, and John's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. John, it's been a little while, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Thanks for having me, man. Always appreciate it.
Hey, John, thank you for the time. All right, the Travis Hunter stuff this past weekend sort of blew up a little bit. The fact that he's going to be a primarily corner in 2026 and play maybe more sparingly at wide receiver. Again, I'm not sure why it blew up. We kind of had that idea here in Jacksonville, but what was your overall thought when you heard that this past weekend?
Pretty similar to you guys, I think, Nick. Not a huge deal to me. It's the biggest deal is just that Jacksonville actually finally said that. I think most of us kind of knew it was probably heading this way, and so I think we just learned it's just really, really difficult in the NFL to be with how detail oriented you have to be to just go by with as much pure talent as you see with anybody. But it's still at the same time, you need the reps, you need the time spent with the units, you need the chemistry and the cohesiveness that comes from that. And I think it was difficult to do both. And I don't necessarily get into the whole, well, is it valuable? Should they have traded up with the player positional value of a corner was worse than a wide receiver? And I'm not saying there's no merit to that argument, but if he becomes the corner people thinks he can become, that's an argument's not going to matter. It just means there's more great wide receivers than great corners and stable corners. So, the chance of maybe him being a great corner is less because of that. But I think he was as talented as any corner we've seen, and he was probably more naturally talented there than he was at wide receiver, I think. So I think he's going to play the position that he's best at. I think he's super talented at wide receiver, and if he were to focus all of his efforts there moving forward for the rest of his career, I bet he'd probably be a good wide receiver too. But wide receiver is not as much, it's just not just about talent. You're changing based on how the picture changes post-snap. So it requires a lot of reps, a lot of nuance, probably more IQ now with the shifting nature of opposing defenses and how much disguise there is in today's league. It probably requires more time and mental aptitude than ever before at this position. So I just think that the investment there, for maybe payoff versus that corner where I think it's going to be a more immediate payoff is kind of how Jacksonville weighed it.
And I think the fantasy football world was the people that were up in arms about the whole situation with Travis Hunter. Quickly, John, going back to last year and your work with the NFL draft, and we'll certainly get to your Audibles and Analytics Substack and let people know where to find you. Travis Hunter as a DB, did you have a player comp for him on the defensive side of the ball? What are we talking here if Travis Hunter plays his full potential at the corner position?
I think that in terms of a comp, it's hard to think of one exactly because we haven't really even seen that much of it in the NFL. There are certainly similarities in some ways to certain players. His closing speed underneath, I think just how fast he breaks on stuff reminds you of as good as anybody we've seen at that sort of stuff in the game. So I think, Marcus Peters is one of those guys that would in that specific way similar to, I think you can say that with Asante Samuel, just some of that stuff. He's got that, like, where he can just like click and close in an instant. And he's got the instincts too to make plays like that. I think where you hope he gives you like the other valuable corner stuff is when he has to match and carry down the field, or when he has to work from press position. He can be probably even better than those guys in that way, where he isn't going to give up as much as some of those guys gave up. So he has all the tendencies and traits to be able to gamble and break underneath and do those sorts of things, make plays on the ball. But he also has the long speed and then some of those wide receiver skills to go up and find the football with his back to the ball, turn, find it, and make plays on the ball too. So those are two, in terms of coverage, I think those are two of the most important things that a defensive back can do. Now, we're not in the league like we were even 10 years ago when there was so much press man coverage and it was like, yeah, put this guy on this guy and let's just roll. That's not really the league that we're in right now. We're in a really disguise-based league right now. Lots of zone coverage. The question is, how do they get to it? How much to often do they show that post-snap? So or pre-snap. So there is a lot of that kind of defense being played. Now, where Hunter can come into that specifically, I think it's all about versatility today in the secondary, in my opinion. Can you blitz? Can you play inside? I think he has potential and talent to do all of those things, but that's going to be, if we're talking about just pure value, like what unlocks the value needed to say it was worth it for us to trade up, give up what we gave up, and move up for him. I don't think you can just say like, oh yeah, you're just going to have this half of the field and we're going to play this coverage and that's you're going to be our guy. You can find guys to do that. He's got to be like a point and shoot and attacking player too. So how much can they do with him? Do they play him inside at all situationally? Does he blitz very often? How important is he in the run game? That is a huge part of playing wide receiver or playing cornerback in today's NFL, is how you play the run and then how do you tackle in space. I mean, so much of the passing games in the modern NFL are get the ball out quick, you throw to the flats a ton. How much do you trigger on that stuff? How good are you as block deconstruction? So it is just so much more than just coverage, which is the risky run with taking this position high, is that you're looking at it through coverage. That's what they do in college a lot, but in the NFL, you have to be able to do a lot of different things. So it's a little bit of an unknown, but I would say from a talent perspective, he's talented enough and he has the desire, the mindset to do all those things well. Does he need to bulk up a little bit? How's the strength factor? There are unknowns still. There are things we got to figure out, but I would still bet on him for sure, despite the weird rookie year.
John Whittier, Audibles and Analytics Substack, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. And you look at just the overall makeup of the roster, right? The emergence of Parker Washington, the arrival of Jacoby Myers, obviously Brian Thomas Jr., Britton Strange as well. I mean, there is only one football to go around, whereas defensively, Monteric Brown and Greg Newsome are both free agents. Jordan Lewis will be coming back from injury, as will Hunter. I mean, right now you could argue Jarian Jones is the only healthy corner the Jaguars have, as you and I are talking. So it just makes total sense. And I guess the other question I have is, not only did Hunter not play a majority of his rookie year, John, but Caleb Ransaw didn't play any of his rookie year, the third-round pick from Tulane. And I've heard, safety for Ransaw. I've heard nickel for Ransaw. I wonder how he might factor into this secondary alongside Hunter as well.
Yeah, and so many of these schemes too. I mean, especially with how the Jacksonville's kind of chosen to do things, at least so far. We'll see how the different personnel might change things. But I think some of those guys are probably going to be somewhat interchangeable, like them playing with Ransaw and two safeties on the field at a time wouldn't shock me that much. To me, when I look at their group, I wonder if safety, especially like a true safety, not like a down safety as much, is sort of where some of their investment might go in the offseason. Maybe that means a current player on the roster like Ransaw is going to play more safety than kind of we anticipated, where I think a lot of people thought Ransaw was going to be a true slot. So they just have like really interesting personnel. I think there's a lot of, we aren't quite sure if any of them are good yet, but we have faith that all of them might be good. So, do we want to invest a lot? We will learn so much about how Jacksonville internally views that room, obviously, from how they treat free agency and any potential trades and the draft as well. So I'm kind of fascinated to know that, because as I watched a lot of them, I think the Newsome trade just really – it just didn't inspire me a whole lot. I think watching him, it just seemed like, and maybe with another year to gel with everybody, some of the confusion I think would go away, because he is talented. But I just wonder if there's enough there to say, oh yeah, this guy's like we want him to be a part of our group for the future for sure. If it was more about getting off the Campbell contract, that kind of stuff, which, I understand. I know money's a part of it. So I don't know that I'd lock him into a spot, and Ransell's going to be in the mix, and Jordan Lewis is, when he, if he's healthy, he's been a pretty good player. He's getting older too, though. So it's just really the one big giant question mark, but not in a way with most teams where you're like, they need to add talent. Yeah, it's such a question mark what they have now. And this group might be good to go. It's so unproven right now that it will be somewhat of a risk if they don't find do anything, I guess, of significance in free agency or the draft.
You think back, again, John Ledyard here with us, you think back to the Jaguars, I guess, 2023 draft, and, there's three guys in particular, and you could certainly lump Anton Harrison into this, but I think he had already kind of established himself. But I look at Brenton Strange, Parker Washington, and Antonio Johnson. All three of those guys could be up for contract extensions this offseason. All three had terrific years, and the emergence of Washington and Strange in particular is probably why this decision with Travis Hunter was ultimately made.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that is the biggest probably change in Jacksonville's entire season, I would say, is just what happened in the wide receiver room, where at the beginning of the year you wondered if it was just going to be so bad that it was going to keep, especially because execution was so poor for a while, that it was just going to keep them from being able to develop Trevor Lawrence, from being able to run the stuff offensively they wanted to run. I remember they were running the ball well the first half of the year, but there was just drops, and Brian Thomas was disappointing, and it was a little bit inconsistent with Hunter, and they were trying to figure out what else they had. But Strange emerging, and I picked him, I think he was third or just honorable mention, all pro for me, something like that. But I picked him as that kind of a season. I thought he was, had a more noteworthy year because he actually does tight end stuff. That's the key, between him and a Cal Pitts, where people are going to say, oh, bigger name, had better numbers. But Strange actually does all the stuff you want a tight end to be able to do. So you don't have to, neuter your scheme, basically, because he doesn't have the skills to do everything like a Cal Pitts does. And so that's where I think the biggest differences lie, and why he's such an exciting player moving forward, as well as the confidence that was built between him and Lawrence. When he was healthy, that offense went through him in a lot of different ways, and I think he was a huge piece of what they're planning to be moving forward, which is also a note to Liam Cohen and just the development of him as a coach, because that wasn't necessarily true of offenses that he ran in Tampa Bay, was that they were going to run through that position as much. But he's always been adaptive to his personnel and even to the matchup in the certain game, which is why I was such a fan of him. But even him and Gladstone being able to add Jacoby Myers, who is kind of sitting out there and is not a star, but is a perfect piece for what they wanted to do. If you were going to develop Trevor Lawrence, you needed to figure out if he could ever become a really good intermediate area of the field passer. I think you and I talked about this a ton when we were doing before the season, just talking about how important that part of a skill set is for a quarterback to become an anticipatory intermediate area of the field passer. And that's how where all the good ones really they distinguish themselves, by throwing to that area of the field. Well, you get Myers, you got a guy who wins in that area of the field. Now you have Strange who wins there. Then Parker Washington earns more playing time. He's able to win in that area of the field. And you could see Trevor Lawrence, for the first time in his career, really develop into a quarterback that trusted those windows over the middle of the field. The receivers were going to be where they were supposed to be. They were going to compete for the football, that he could put it in a spot and they would execute. And that transformed the entire offense. They became a great passing offense, and they still were able to run the ball effectively. I think it waned a little bit. That will happen, I think, with the personnel they have. But that, to me, is the biggest reason to be really encouraged about their overall room and moving Hunter. Because obviously Thomas is going to be a part of this. I'm not buying the trade stuff unless there's character stuff. Obviously he's going to be a part of this moving forward. But you need pieces that are really different from him in skill set in order to make this offense work. That was clear, and I think they found those guys.
John, as we begin to wrap up, look, the bottom line is the Jaguars don't have a first-round pick, but what they do have is 4 picks in the top 100, which are 4 day 2 selections, 1 in round 2, 3 round 3 selections. When you look at the draft class as a whole heading into the combine, boy, you could do a lot worse than 4 day 2 picks, correct?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Some of the deepest positions in this class are positions that it's going to be interesting to see what their approach will be at, I think, for everybody. Jaguars are one of the most interesting teams. Just what do they think of their defensive personnel is one of my big offseason questions for any team, I think. Just is Devin Lloyd coming back? Do they feel like Travon Walker and Josh Allen are the guys long-term? Obviously Allen is, or Hines Allen. But, do they want to, what's the level of investment going to be in another edge defender? I think probably pretty high. And then edge and linebacker are 2 of the deepest position groups in the class. So what does that do in negotiations in the offseason with contracts and so on and so forth, how they're going to approach those. So that's to me is totally fascinating. We already talked about the secondary, but just what do they think of their personnel there? Their defense played really well. Did they think it was mostly coaching and they want to upgrade a bunch of spots, or do they think it's, a lot of these players can continue to get better within their system? Because, it's a new regime. So a lot of these guys weren't drafted by this. So there's no necessarily, they may not think as fondly of them as the last regime did for a lot of these players, at least. And so I think that'll be fascinating, but the draft, where the draft is at and then what their needs are aligned pretty well from my perspective, at least defensively, at least. So I think that it will be curious to see how they approach some of their offseason conversations with their internal pieces, because there are going to be easy ways to say, we can probably just grab a guy that's similar, in the draft and start a rookie contract and save some money there. And I'm sure in some area of the roster, they will choose to do that.
John, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, man, the Audibles and Analytics Substack and where they can find your work.
Yeah, absolutely. I cover the Steelers and the Bucs a little bit, so Jaguars fans might not be as interested in that part, but I cover the NFL and the NFL draft really extensively, a couple podcasts a week on both. That is over on my Substack, Audibles and Analytics. You can subscribe for $5 a month or $50 for the year and get all access to all my content there, as well as all my scouting reports. So I've got probably like 13 little linebackers in this class already written up full scouting reports and little audio scouting reports with those too. So if fans like the analysis, they can go check those out and see if Jacksonville doesn't bring back Evan Lloyd, what some of the other options in the draft might be. And I'll have all the position groups scouting reports up there by the time we get to the big draft anyways, as well. So yeah, people can check out Audibles and Analytics to see all that work.
John Ledyard of the Audibles and Analytics Substack. John, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for the time. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely, Ryan. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
1010XL says thank you to our military.
We're American because you're in America, okay? Greatest country on the planet.
God bless the USA.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here from the Blue Crab Crab House. February means the Mardi Gras menu returns to the Blue Crab Crab House. Gumbo, shrimp Orleans, blackened redfish, appetizers, dessert, and more. This includes, of course, their regular menu where you get crabs from the Alaskan waters, the Canadian waters, the Southern Georgia waters. It's only at the Blue Crab Crab House. Doors open at 4:30, San Jose, and of course, Jewington Creek Road.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
This is former NFL quarterback David Garrard. If your knees have taken a beating and you're finally ready to do something about it, then let Southeast Orthopedic take a look. Come on, do your knees a favor.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Get in the paint with Patrick Young as he and Dan and Jeff break down Florida Gators basketball. It's the smartest Gator Insight every Friday morning at 8:30. Tipped off by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists on 1010XL.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller. I'm starting to realize being a homeowner isn't all upside, Jason.
I mean, it does give you a place to live.
Yeah, but now suddenly I need to know the names of all the people I need to look after my house.
Like who?
Like if my air conditioner breaks in the middle of the heat wave, I need to know who I call to fix it.
That's me. You know me.
But what if my water heater dies or my toilet backs up?
That would also be me. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
Okay, fine, but what about my duct cleaning and my water filtration and my sewer drain? Where am I going to find all those guys if something goes wrong? I'm just a guy with a house and a dream and...
This pair of sunglasses.
Whoa.
Bueller Air and Plumbing is the only name you need to know. Our club members even get 2 free visits a year, so you know we're there when you need us.
Well, that's cool.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
At the First Coast YMCA, there's no place like this place, with programs and experiences that will bring your whole family together. Summer will be here before we know it, and Y Summer Day Camp registration is now open. Visit your local Y to secure your child's spot early for a season full of memories and adventure. Don't delay. Day camps will fill up. There's no place like this place, so visit your local Y to sign up or online at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
When your home or business deserves more than ordinary glass, you trust the experts. Capital Glass and Shower Doors has been elevating spaces for over 40 years with precision, craftsmanship, and clean, modern design. From sleek frameless shower enclosures to elegant glass railings, wine cabinets, and any custom glass that makes a statement, Capital Glass delivers unmatched quality, service, and attention to detail. Your vision, their expertise. Capital Glass and Shower Doors at capcoglass.com.
Spring is almost here. Is your yard ready? Lucas Tree Service, a family-owned business with over 45 years of experience, is your local certified arborist for tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for residential or commercial properties. Protect your home, boost your curb appeal, and get top-notch service from a Jacksonville company. Make sure your trees are healthy and safe before summer hits. Schedule your tree inspection today at lucastreeservice.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Boy, busy show tonight. Glad you're with us on a Wednesday. Brent Beard, you see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. We'll talk a little college basketball, among other things. I will tell you, oh my goodness, they're going to double overtime in Tuscaloosa between Arkansas and Alabama. Arkansas had a shot at the buzzer. They actually had a tip at the buzzer as well. Both come off the rim. Double OT between Arkansas and Alabama. Gator fans, it's a big game for you. You currently are 11-2 in the conference. Arkansas is 9-3. Alabama's 8-4. You'd like Alabama to knock off Arkansas. That would give Florida a 2-game lead for the SEC regular season title. And they are going to double OT between Arkansas and Alabama in what is turning out to be a terrific game tonight in the Southeastern Conference. Let's talk some college basketball. Let's talk Gator basketball. Let's talk about Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback for Ole Miss, winning his court case to get another year of eligibility and what that may mean moving forward. And let's do all that with my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News, and I've had Brent on for years here on Hacker After Dark. On a Wednesday evening in Northeast Florida, Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us till 10 o'clock here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
There are many ways to experience 1010XL.
The key to this whole thing is their computer.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Get me that computer program.
Yes, sir. At 1010XL.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Valentine's Day is sweet, but let's be honest, your septic tank wants attention too. Because when it gets ignored, it doesn't sulk, it causes problems, big ones. That's why Duck Duck Rooter, the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, is rolling out the Show Your Septic Some Love promotion. Right now, get $50 off septic tank pumping when you book by February 28th. Give your septic a little love now so it doesn't make a big scene later. When you start, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, duckduckrooter.com.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
I'm Megan Dink with the Players Center for Child Health at Wolfson Children's Hospital. With support from the Players, we're improving the health and well-being of children and families across Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. It's 20 days until the Players Championship.
Could you imagine? There was a time you could just tell your kids to shut up, right to their face. No explanations, just shut up. How much easier would that have been? Why is the sun hot? I don't know. Why don't you shut up? Well, that was uncalled for.
Tom Hopper Live in the Grateful Bread Tour. Saturday, February 21st, on stage at Florida Theater. Tickets are on sale now at floridatheater.com.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing a lawyer, but getting some guy who just watches courtroom dramas.
How does the defendant plead?
Guilty.
Wait, what?
Also, objection.
You object to what?
Erroneous.
Counsel, approach the bench.
Hey, can I get a whack at the gavel?
You wouldn't settle for just any lawyer, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
At Hollis Pools, building a pool is personal. We sit down with you, listen to your vision, and bring your backyard dreams to life right here in Northeast Florida. Working with us doesn't feel like working with a contractor. It feels like working with family. Every Hollis Pools project supports Project Savior Outdoors, helping bring hope to our veterans. Visit hollispools.com. Hollis Pools, your vision, your pool, your escape. License number CPC 1461233.
Make Capital Glass and Shower Doors your premier choice for top quality glass solutions. With over 40 years of expertise, their team specializes in commercial and residential projects. From elegant shower doors to modern frameless enclosures, they've got you covered. But that's not all. They also offer glass railing systems, glass wine cabinets, and much more. For unmatched quality and service, choose Capital Glass and Shower Doors. Your vision, their expertise. Visit online at capcoglass.com.
He writes. He speaks.
Amazing, isn't it?
He's nationally syndicated sports writer Matt Hayes, and he's on XL Prime Time. Weekdays noon to 2 on 1010 XL.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
This is Frank Frangie for the farm in Okefenokee. Can you imagine owning a handcrafted cabin tucked into a 1,000-acre regenerative farm? Imagine enjoying fresh produce from the garden, fruit from the orchard, meats from the smokehouse. Every meal is a true farm-to-table experience all year long. Belong to a place where your family can choose nature over screens, spending their days feeding animals, picking berries, and fishing in the farm's pond. Learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com.
When it's game time, make feeding the crowd easy.
Chicken Salad Chick serves fresh Southern-style chicken salad, flavorful sides, and crowd-favorite catering trays. Order ahead at chickcatering.com or visit one of 4 area locations today.
Instant Keys is turning 25. A quarter century of saving the day when your keys mysteriously vanish.
Seriously, it was just in my pocket.
Or when that remote fob decides to quit working.
The dealership is such a hassle.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, house keys, transponders, re-keys, and even high-tech smart locks. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For honest, professional locksmith service, use Instant Keys.
If you're at home on the range, tee it up with the Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Tour news, local updates, and the latest gear. The Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL.
Get a healthy start in 2026. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to help you get healthy and stay healthy all year long. Our dedicated team is committed to providing high-quality care and trusted public health services for our community. Our mission is simple: to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Learn more about our programs and services by visiting duval.floridahealth.gov.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. There's a lot going on in the college world, in the sports world right now. Trinidad Chambliss gets another year of eligibility. What does that mean moving forward for other collegiate athletes that want to get more eligibility in their NCAA careers? We got Gator basketball and SEC basketball. Right now, 11 teams would be in the big dance, according to Joe Lunardi of ESPN.com. And there's also talk of a 24-team playoff in college football on the horizon. Let's talk about all of it with my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, how are you, my friend?
Well, doing okay, Hank. Good to be on with you. Yes, there's still plenty going on, even though we're basically still mid-February. Look, frankly, within a month, we're going to be talking about in spring practice in college football, and the dance will be basically going on in a little over a month, too. So still a lot to do and a lot to talk about over the next few weeks.
No, there certainly is. And let's begin with the college football playoff. Now, we know this upcoming year it's going to stick with 12 teams. And there's a thought that 16 is on the horizon, and now there's even talk about 24. And Brent, from a mile-high point of view, I love college football as much as the next guy, but when you start talking about 24 teams in a college football playoff, boy, to me that seems like an awful lot. What's your thought there?
Well, I agree with that. I think what they need to do is go from 12 to 16 and just leave it there for several years. See, the part of the problem here is they've always wanted more and more, and I get it, I really do. But see, the problem is when you get to a 24-team playoff, Hack, the risk that you run is some teams starting really slow and being able to pick it up and end up with a there was consternation when teams were 9-3. Well, we may have an 8-4 with a 24-team playoff, and at that point, Hank, you're not doing yourself any favor. So I almost wonder with the Big Ten if they're not shooting for the mountains or the moon, and just making the mountains at this point. So it's it's an interesting thing to talk about in many ways, and we'll get into some of the details of it. But look, we would have had 16 a few weeks ago if the Big Ten had not been stubborn to go with 24. But what you do is you go from 12 to 16, see how it works, and then you talk it out from there.
So the Big Ten is leading the charge. Any idea what the SEC and Greg Sankey think about the idea of a 2014 playoff?
They want to stay with 16, go to 16, stay there for a while is their preference. And frankly, the other conferences, most of them besides the Big Ten, are looking at the same situation. Now, what they're saying with the 2014 playoff, that there will be no first-round rematches, which that would probably be a good thing. There would be more games on campus. That would be a good thing. Now, I think what that would mean is the possibility of your first two games or the first two rounds being on campus. So that would be certainly interesting. The top 8 would get a bye, which would mean they would start about 2 weeks later than when it would begin. There are some interesting things here, and maybe the most interesting thing here is doing away with conference championship games. I'm not sure, Hack, that conferences haven't drawn the line in the sand there, and they would not want to give up that money for the conference championship game, would they?
You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Just doing my Wolfson High School math on that. If there's a 2014 playoff and the top 8 get buys, hypothetically you're saying team number 9 would have to play 17 games to win a national championship. I mean, Brent, you love college football as much as anybody I know, and you've done it and covered it for as long as I've known you, decades, and even longer before that. Is the playoff working the way they wanted it to work? We've now seen the 12-team playoff for a couple of years. Is college football happy with this, and that's why they're thinking about expanding it?
Well, they're making money with it, and that obviously is your biggest draw. They do want to get as many teams involved as possible, but what is the line of demarcation? Meaning, at what point do you go, and I think this is where you're going with this, what point do you go, Hank, to where you really water down the regular season or where it means nothing at all, and then you get to the playoffs? Look, I'm delighted the playoffs are here. We really waited way too long to get them going. But what we're seeing now, the byproduct of this is a lot of bowls are going out of business. Look, I've always thought the playoffs should be emphasized more than the bowls, but there are teams that won't make the playoffs who deserve to go to bowl games, and we're seeing more bowl games go by the wayside here. So my conclusion is go from 12 to 16 and just cap it and see where it goes for 5 or 10 years, and then make some kind of decision there. Because what they've got to get rid of, or they've got to reduce some things real quick, is Georgia after the SEC championship game, because they had a first round bye, had a month before they played their first playoff game. I mean, you know how much a team changes during that time. And the other thing that they've got to be careful about is that, look, for the next 3 national championship games, it's going to be January 20-something. And Hank, my question to you is, and to others, are fans losing interest when we don't have a championship game until January the 24th?
Oh, I agree. I think the schedule is ridiculous, but I think it's been ridiculous in college football for a long time. And I get, the New Year's and the bowl situation. I understand why they do it, but I've said for a while, if you're explaining college football to somebody that doesn't know anything about college football, you're going to tell them for 12 consecutive weeks or 13 weeks, you're going to have all kinds of action and it's going to be awesome. And then you're going to take 3.5 weeks off, and then you're going to start the playoff or the postseason. Right. And they would look at you like, what? Why are you taking so much time off?
Yes.
The schedule's been bad in college football for a long, long time. Quickly, one of the teams that was in the playoff last year and a guy that showed out in the playoff was Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss. And he won his court case last week, and he's going to get another year of eligibility. And I've seen some of the reaction to that, Brent, and it has not been positive, at least some of the reaction that I've seen. What's your thought and what's been the reaction around the conference of Chambliss getting another year, and what does that mean for guys like Joey Aguilar that are trying to do the same thing?
Yeah, and Joey Aguilar from Tennessee is still waiting on that decision. We're not sure really when that will come down. I mean, it could almost come down at any time, but the Chambliss situation was the Chambliss situation was such that the lawyers for the NCAA actually left the courtroom, and the judge threatened them with contempt that they would be on their way to the Joey Aguilar hearing, which was going to be the next day. That was a bizarre situation. But look, this really what this does. This makes Ole Miss a contender again for next year, as good as Chambliss is. But the thing that we're seeing is when schools go against the NCAA and they get them in court, oftentimes these judges are going to rule in favor of the Ole Miss teams in the Ole Miss schools because these guys have a right to work, in other words. So we will follow that very closely. But again, Chambliss coming back, doesn't it, Hack, makes Ole Miss a contender automatically for next year.
Yeah, it's certainly great for Pete Golding in year number one as Ole Miss's head coach. And look, Brent, I mean, I'm obviously not in the judicial area. I'm not a lawyer by any stretch of the imagination, although I do watch a lot of them on television. So maybe that gives me some thought. Yeah. But, you know, like Alabama, the Charles Bediako situation, it was a Tuscaloosa judge that originally put that restraining order against the NCAA that allowed him to play. Now Chambliss and Ole Miss, they win this case with a Mississippi State, no, not the Bulldogs, but a Mississippi State court judge that granted him another year of eligibility. I mean, look, again, I don't want to speak out of turn as far as the judicial process, but if you're going to court in the state of the university, I would imagine most judges would rule in favor of their constituents there in their home state.
Oh, yeah. And look, again, I come from a family of attorneys, but I am not one. But these guys, I'm sure they're probably leaning on they have a right to work and make money. But look, this has got to be looked at without getting too deep into this. Afterwards, at some point, we need a leader of the NCAA, and we need someone to come out and to make some hard, fast rules in order to keep some of these situations from being ridiculous. There is a player at Middle Tennessee, Hack, that he has been granted it's either 11 or 12 years. Either one's ridiculous when you think about that. But I'm okay with guys playing 5 years, in order to get 5 in. But when you're talking about double digits and beyond 5 years, it gets the point of being ridiculous almost, doesn't it?
There's no doubt. Final moments with Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, let's shift to basketball as we wrap up here with you. Look, the SEC as a whole, probably not what it was last year. I mean, last year it was historic how good it was. Would they get like 6 teams in the Sweet 16 or something? It was crazy. But Lunardi on ESPN.com still has 11 as of right now getting into the NCAA tournament. I believe the highest seed he has is Florida as a 3. I think they're going to be a 2 by the time the week closes out, because I can't imagine they're going to fall in these next couple of ball games. But regardless of all of that, again, the SEC is not what it was a year ago as far as top heavy. But, man, the strength of the conference, again, showing through right now with 11 that are projected into the NCAA tournament.
You actually have 9 who have winning conference records. I know conference records are only a part of it, but you've got 2 that are on the actually 3 that are on the outside looking in. Georgia's 5-7, Auburn is 5-7, and Mississippi State's 4-8. Can those teams make a run over the last half a dozen or so games in order to get a real challenge and add other teams in here? Now, obviously, Florida's your flag bearer right now. Arkansas is 9-3, and Arkansas and Alabama play an important game on Wednesday night this week. That's going to be very interesting. But you've still got Vandy, Kentucky, Tennessee, Bama, all 8-4, and then Missouri, Texas A&M, who have won 7 games so far. So no, it's not quite the race it was last year, but there's still very well maybe double-digit SEC teams that get in the dance.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And quickly, we got 60 seconds. Florida, the way they're playing right now, Brent, I was realistic when the season started after replacing their top 4 guards. I said, look, if they get to the Sweet 16, that's probably going to be a successful year. There's a reason so few teams have repeated. I think it's a legit conversation now. If the SEC is to have a Final Four team, right now it would be the Gators, and I don't even think it's close.
How good could they be if the guards get it together? They've got the best front line, arguably, in college basketball. Xavier Lee had a 22.3 assist, really doing well, and they were very impressive in the win over Kentucky. You're right. I think they've got some of the easier games coming up, but the reality is that this is a team that is playing on all cylinders right now, and how good, man, oh man, could they be? And Hank, let me just throw a real quick local note in here as time is waning. People may not know this yet, but Alabama has made a hire of Richard Owens, who is a former Middleburg player, went to play for Louisville, and then has coached around in some different schools, played a little bit in the NFL. So congratulations to Richard. Hank, I'm guessing you probably remember that name and called his name a few times on the Friday night show, but it's great to see when these local kids do well.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, hard to believe this upcoming August, Brent, will be 20 years that we've done the Friday Night Lights post game. Wow. Isn't that amazing that we're celebrating
really
2 decades of it this upcoming season? You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, enjoyed it as always, man. We'll reconvene next week.
Good. Can't wait, bud. Take care. Have a great week.
And thank you to my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. There's certainly a lot going on in the college game. The Trinidad Chambliss court ruling last week, pretty surprising to a lot of people. We'll see how that affects some of these other court rulings moving forward. Of course, a lot of college hoops. We saw Florida last night, another win over South Carolina. The Gators were 5-4 at one point this year. They're now 20-6. They've gone 15-2 in their last 17 games. They are 11-2 in SEC play, first place in the conference, as they are trying to get as high a seed as they can for the NCAA tournament. Again, the key for Florida, and I'll continue to say it, and they're getting pretty close to this point. I would actually be surprised now if this ultimately does not happen. If they're a top 4 seed in any of the regions, which they're most likely to be, they're going to be put in Tampa for the round of 64 and the round of 32, which again means they'll basically have a home court advantage in Tampa for first and second round action of the NCAA tournament, which is all you could ask for if you're a Gator fan after starting the year at 5-4. So a terrific turnaround, and again, a win for Florida last night over South Carolina. So we certainly spent some time on that, but as you can imagine, a lot of time was spent on the Jacksonville Jaguars, the NFL draft, the scouting combine next week up in Indianapolis, and of course, we are now well inside of 3 weeks away until NFL free agency. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM, and we have a ton of people to thank. Again, my buddy Brent Beard, you see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to John Ledyard, the Audibles and Analytics Substack. John does a terrific job covering the National Football League. Certainly love talking about the Jaguars and the rest of the NFL offseason and the draft. John's very big into the draft and has been so for many, many years, and we appreciate John taking time out for us tonight. And then back in hour number one, Greg Allman of Fox Sports. He had the write-up last week, the top 100 NFL free agents. Has Devin Lloyd ranked number 3 on his list. And unlike a lot of people, he actually thinks the Jaguars are going to find a way to bring back Devin Lloyd, which I appreciated his opinion on that. I don't agree with that, but I liked it because it was a differing opinion from what most people say, and we certainly thank Greg for taking time out for us here on Hacker After Dark. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Thursday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Aaron Williams was your producer tonight. Aaron, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have a terrific remainder of your Wednesday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Thursday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.